Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about 6 signs that somebody is a manipulative person. Someone is trying to manipulate you. As it's not always easy to spot the signs. It's not always easy to recognise when someone's behaviour is being manipulative towards you, as they usually manage to do it in a way that can either excuse or justify or rationalise their behaviour, or make you feel compelled into helping them, or make you feel compassionate towards them, forgiving them for repeated mistakes that they make. Trying to take a person for who they are as a person and try not to be too offended by who they are as a person, not realising that that person is exploiting and manipulating you. One of the first signs someone is incredibly manipulative is they are either always the victim in the story or they are the martyr in the story. Either they have been victimized, somebody has done something to hurt them. It's always somebody else's fault. They've always had the worst deal. They've always come off far worse than anybody else, and there's always somebody else to blame other than themselves. Or they are the martyr. They did it for that other person's own good. They were only trying to help. They were only trying to support. They're only trying to be the good person in it all. Which, yes, enablers can get dragged into being the martyr when they are naive and not recognising what the narcissist is doing to other people, which is why in some sense we should all just stay out of other people's business. No matter what somebody is feeding us, it's not up to us to get our nose in other people's business unless there is some serious harm going to come to another person, in which case the professionals need to be involved. And yes, not all professionals do understand what manipulative people do. However, the more we raise awareness, the more people will understand these signs. Never taking responsibility. Always the victim often means that they never take responsibility for their own behaviour. It's always somebody else's fault. They can crash their own vehicle, yet it'll be somebody else's fault. You can be miles away, you can be at work, you can be at home, you can be driving somewhere with your children. However, it will be your fault that they crashed their vehicle. You might have parked yours up and they might run into yours, yet it'll be your fault for where you parked your vehicle. Whatever it is, to a narcissistic person that they have done wrong, they always find a way to fail to take responsibility and blame somebody else. Even those who are unwilling to pay to support their own children, they find a way to blame the parent who is supporting their own children. When that parent's supporting them, they accuse people of being greedy, they accuse people of taking advantage. When they are actually projecting, they're the one that's taking advantage. They're the one that's unable or unwilling to take responsibility. So those who are willing to play the victim, willing to play the martyr, and fail to take responsibility for their own behaviour are the very people who are going to be incredibly manipulative to exploit people so that they can get away with their behaviour. Because they don't recognise that anything is their fault, they don't change their behaviour. They just continue to hurt people, they continue to let people down, and they continue to blame others. This one's quite tricky because they can come across as being genuinely honest and sincere and giving constructive criticism. However, they do it in some of the most cruelest and calculated ways. They have a cruel, twisted sense of humour. They will put you down about something, especially if it's an insecurity that they know of yours. They will pull you down over something And then they will just turn around. When you get offended because they've offended you, they will be incredibly offensive towards you. And when you naturally get offended by what they say, they fail to take responsibility for what they have done or what they have said, and they turn into the victim. Oh, I knew it'd been my fault. Oh, I knew you'd blame me. Or they turn into the martyr. I was only trying to help. I was only trying to be supportive. I was just being honest. I was just telling the truth. So they get to offend you, and then they get to blame you. Now, in life, we do need to learn as a society not to offend other people. However, we also need to learn not to be offended by other people. So you can have an incident where somebody just doesn't know something, and it might be something about yourself that you find quite personal to yourself. And somebody might come and approach you and ask you about this. And if you might be slightly offended, but the person is naive and doesn't know, and you can help explain it to them so they understand where you're coming from. This is what confidence is about, knowing it so that you can explain it to someone, knowing that perhaps sometimes you might get it wrong. We do get things wrong in life. It's how we learn. However, having the confidence to explain what we do know to those who are naive that might not know. When it comes to a narcissistic person, they are incredibly arrogant people. So if you go and approach them about something, especially if it's about one of their inadequacies, and they don't know the answer, they are going to seek to criticize you. They're going to seek to pull you down, to get revenge on you, because they're full of resentment that you might have pointed a flaw out within them, that then they seek to pull you down. They don't seek to have that conversation with you. Therefore, we can then feel bad that we might have potentially offended them, which is where the difference lies. We're all capable of criticizing people. Manipulative people will criticize you and then blame you and not bother explaining anything to you. Genuine people might criticize you, realize they've hurt your feelings, blame themselves, and try to make it up to you, which is why narcissists will fall into the victim play, so that you feel like you've offended them and you go all out to make it up to them. They're never there for you when you need them. If you need picking up from an appointment, a serious doctor's appointment that you just cannot drive home from, they will fail to turn up for you, or they will pick you up and you might need to go home and rest, and they'll go and take you shopping when you don't want to be shopping. If they do something for you, it's going to be because they're passing somewhere that they need to visit en route. They might even do it for you, but say that they have to use your vehicle, your fuel. You've got to pay for them to help you out in some way. However, you will also have to be eternally grateful that they helped you out. They will make you feel like you're being ungrateful if you ask to go straight home because you're not feeling too well. They're going to turn it to their advantage, or they're going to fail to do it for you. However, when they need something from you, they're going to be asking you. They're always going to be wanting your help. They're always going to be wanting you to do stuff for them. Yet rarely to never will they thank you. Rarely to never will they be appreciative. They'll often just criticize you by pointing out how they would have done it better. They change who they are depending on who they are with. This is quite easy to notice. We are all capable of changing who we are as a person depending on who we are around. We are all capable of recognizing that perhaps our elders have different beliefs to what our generation has. Therefore, we can forgive some of the behavior of our elders, which is seen as not appropriate to the younger generation and what they're going through to today. We can sort of see how things have evolved, and that's their beliefs and that's there, and we can forgive them for behaviour that perhaps we would pull a younger generation person up about. We can also respect that their beliefs are slightly different to ours, so perhaps who we are as a person might be offensive to who they are based on the generation that they were raised in. Therefore, we might tone ourselves back a bit around certain people where we believe we're going to offend their beliefs, offend their values. People might say certain religious words, certain curse words, yet when they're around somebody who they know is religious and doesn't appreciate it, they might not say those words around that person in order not to offend that person. Somebody who swears might appreciate that a family member doesn't particularly approve of swearing, so can respect that and just rein it in that little bit, sort of that give and take between two people. When it comes to a narcissistic person, they don't rein it in for the benefit of the other person. They rein it in for the benefit of themselves, or they pull it out to offend another person on purpose. So if they don't like being around somebody and they know somebody doesn't like swearing, they will swear all the more to purposefully offend that person. In which case that person just needs to recognise that not the kind of person I want to be around. However, the narcissist then gets what they want, they meet their aim. Narcissistic people change who they are depending who they are around to put that persona on, to sell people an illusion that works in the narcissist's best interest. So although yes, we are all capable of changing ourselves depending on who we are around, we perhaps don't speak to our parents or our children about things that we would speak to our partners about, so to speak. Narcissistic people will often embarrass you and use cruel humour in front of people and tell people things that perhaps you don't want them to know. They change who they are depending on who they are around to get their needs met. Narcissistic people are incredibly manipulative people. However, the manipulation methods they use are things that people can do. When somebody isn't at fault for something, they might blame another person. When someone is a victim of something, they might claim to be the victim. When somebody's around somebody they don't want to offend, they might change who they are or rein in who they are around that person in order not to offend that person. So as the behaviours can be similar, it's often difficult to recognise that someone is a manipulative person. With a manipulative person, it's a repeat pattern of behaviour where you'll often find that those around that person are left feeling to blame, left feeling ashamed, left losing a sense of self, left not feeling enough, while the narcissist continues being the victim or the martyr to get away with their behaviour. There are lots of different ways narcissistic people manipulate. Any signs you notice, please do add those into the comments. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to or have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.